Good morning everyone, today we are going to be talking about the Waker. I know all of my other fellow content creators beat me to the punch by several days actually. I'm really late to the party, but I know a lot of people are curious about my thoughts about the Waker and what I think about it. So in today's video, we're going to be covering all of that. But before we jump into the video, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily. So if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. Alright, so the very first thing I need to talk about is what type of potency does the Waker need? After seeing footage of the Waker in action, which I'll show you in a little bit, we have found out that the Waker is actually a technique class and it does not require 3 separate potencies. So for all of my friends out there that were a little bit worried about like, okay, I need to build 3 different potencies, it's going to be really expensive and difficult, that is not the case. It's all going to be technique. And the reason we know this is simply because if you look at the background of each different PA, it's very clear that all the melee potency weapons have a red background. As you can see, all of my katana PAs over here have this red background. All the range potency weapons have a blue background, and all the technique potencies have a yellow background. So as you can see on the force, if we go over here to techniques, all of them have a yellow background regardless of the actual skills color. You know, Zande is green, but in the background it is yellow. And well, in the footage of the Waker, all of their photon arts are yellow, which means they're all going to be using technique potency. So there we go, number 1 most asked question answered. Now the second most requested question was, what are all the different PAs as well as the skill tree that the Waker has? So as we can see in this picture, up here are all of the main class Waker skills, and down here are subclass Waker skills. So these 4 specific skills will work if you choose Waker as your subclass. So for example, in my case, maybe I want to rock Braver Waker. So what exactly do these skills do? Well, lucky for us, Google Translate can help us quite a bit to understand what these skills actually do. So the first one is called Old Friends Rescue. HP recovers to a certain probability when receiving a certain percentage of damage of maximum HP, effective even in subclasses. So basically, when you get hit, there is a chance of you to naturally heal back a little bit of HP. Very straightforward. The next skill is Welfare Management. When HP is below a certain point of maximum HP, the damage received is reduced and the amount of recovery from the rest assigns have been increased. This again is very straightforward. Now the last 2 skills over here is what I find very interesting and might actually be very useful for me as a Braver main. So the first one is Resta Effect Continuity. When using a rest assign, the amount of recovery decreases and HP continues to recover for a certain period of time. So basically when I use a rest assign, which is supposed to recover 50% of my maximum HP, it's going to heal a little bit less, probably like 40% of my maximum HP immediately, and then I'll get maybe an extra 20% over time. However, for my smart Braver mains out there, you may know that we have a skill called Resta Effect Amplifier. And this actually increases our rest assign heal from 50% to 80%. As you can see here, heal potency increase rate. When it's a main class, it's 130%, or an increase of 30% to our healing, which bumps it up to 80%. So what we can effectively do as a Braver main class as well as a Waker subclass is we could probably get pretty dang close to a 100% heal each rest assign that we use. Now of course it's not going to be an instant heal, it'll probably heal us to half HP, and then over time, probably in like 10 seconds or something, it'll top us off. But nevertheless, that is still freaking amazing, and I'm definitely looking forward to testing that. And last but not least, Lucky Sign. Rest assign as well as the reverse assigns will not be consumed with a certain probability. So basically giving us a chance to actually use our reses or use our heals without actually consuming the flower. So that is freaking amazing. I could definitely see this being useful against Gigantics or Darkfall's rank 2, or maybe even the Geometric Labyrinth, where things are a little bit more drawn out and healing items are a little bit more scarce. You know, might be very useful even in the Gorge against Ancients, because you know the reverse assigns or the yellow flowers to revive people are very scarce in the Gorge. But with that out of the way, let us start talking about the Waker as a main class. So as a Waker, you have 3 separate summons, pets, familias, whatever you want to call it, stands even, and it's very straightforward. You've got the range one, which is like a dragon, you've got the melee one, which is the punchy monkey, and of course we got the tech, which is Melon and Maron combined together, fused together DBZ style into this gigantic C4 bomb. So it's pretty simple. You've got your melee, you've got your range, as well as you got your tech. However, the tech skill over here doesn't work quite the same way as in the base game. So for all of my summoner friends out there, I'm really sorry. but this is a Waker class and not the Summoner class. Is actually like totally different from how the Summoner plays. So before I talk about each of the pets, let's just talk about the auto attack. The auto attack is very simple. You just wave your little conductor harmonizer looking thing and it just does range damage. Very, very simple. It does scale off technique damage, so just keep that in mind because as you can see, the backgrounds of all her skills are in yellow, so it means it scales off technique potency, okay? Alright, next up we're going to be talking about how each of the pets work. The pets work off a charge system. It's very similar to like a hunter, how you can hold down the button in order to charge up the PA to do something different. It works exactly the same way with the Waker. So you've got a tap and then you've got a hold. So as we can see over here, this is the tap. So with the ranged pet, that's the tap and this is the hold. So the hold just hits a little bit harder, does a little bit more damage. There's the tap, here is the hold. As you can see, the hold just looks more powerful, does a little bit more damage. Now, as we can see in the footage, you can weave in separate combos. So just like the Braver, every time you cast the same PA, it does different things for multiple times. So over here, you can see the Waker is weaving in different combinations of taps as well as holds, and they're doing different things. So just because the Waker only has 3 to 4 PAs does not mean that this class is not complex, because you can weave in all of these different taps as well as holds in order to pull off different combinations and achieve different effects. So over here is a great example on how the Waker is able to ride the dragon as a range pet in order to traverse the area and have a little bit more extra mobility, which is very nice. Now over here we can see this is the melee pet. The melee pet is also very, very powerful. Again, you can just hold it down in order to do that AoE stomp. You can do different combinations, and as you can see, they're doing different things based on how many times they're tapping and how many times they are holding in order to gain different combos, which is very cool. All right, next up I want to talk about the pet gauge over here. As you can see, they have enhanced this little picture above our weapon palette where you can see there is a range, there's a melee, as well as the technique thing. When you fill up these gauges, you unlock special abilities such as a fusion between the melee pet as well as a ranged pet, where they can do this pseudo ki blast, which does a ton of damage and looks really, really cool. However, what excites me the most about the Waker class is the counter system, because that is how you're actually going to be charging the Maron pet or the gigantic C4. The more you counter, the larger you can grow the pet in order to deal additional damage. So basically, you want to pull off 3 perfect counters, then you can deal the maximum amount of damage by throwing your C4 pet into the mobs, which is freaking awesome. So the reason I like this is because I've always enjoyed the counter gameplay of the Braver, so being able to pull off your weapon action in order to charge up this C4, and once you've got your 3 perfect counters, you yeet and you deal a ton of damage. However, on top of that, you can bring it a step further. You can also throw your C4 pet at the enemy whenever you do a perfect counter. So it works exactly the same way as the Braver, how we do a counter into an auto attack. It works the exact same way, so you can constantly throw your C4 pets at the enemies every time you do a perfect counter, which is very, very convenient. However, of course, if you do get the level 3 charge, it's going to deal the most damage because, well, that's just how the pet works. It just charges up, gets really, really big, and explodes. So in conclusion, what do I think of the Waker class? I think it's definitely going to be a very fun class, mainly because you can focus on technique potency only, but you get the advantage of playing both range and melee, and they're both going to be very effective. However, the catch with this class is your positioning and distancing. That is going to play a very big part of how the Waker class works, simply because you're going to be weaving in and out with your range attacks, with your melee attacks, with your counters, with your huge gigantic C4s, and so your positioning as well as situational awareness is going to be a lot more important than other classes such as the Force, where you can just hang back, stay in a safe distance, and just blast things away. This class is going to be a little bit more of a mid-distance class. You're going to be weaving in and out between melee and range, but you're not going to be super far. Think of it like a gunner. I think it's probably going to be in that gunner range where you're not super close, but you're not super far either. So it is going to be a little bit tricky to get used to, but I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy the Waker class. Now, something that's very important is if you are a Waker, even though it is a technique class, you do not, I repeat, you do not have access to techniques. So even though it is a technique class, strangely enough, you can't use any techniques. That's an interesting thing, but it is what it is. And to be honest, you can fix that very easily by simply having a Force subclass, and boom, you've solved that issue. You can use all of your Force skills again, so easy peasy. But yeah, that's my take on the Waker class. I definitely will be trying Waker as a subclass. I don't really know if it's gonna be a main class for me because it doesn't really vibe with my playstyle. I've always been more of a melee player in the thick of things, and unfortunately with the whole C4 pet, which was what I really enjoyed, it does revolve around countering, so it's not going to be like a main source of DPS. So just using that skill is not going to be very viable, which is why I'm probably not going to be maining a Waker anytime soon. But I definitely will be testing it as a subclass because all of those skills look super interesting. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it interesting. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!
What can I say except you're welcome for the heals, the boosts, the